Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to be grabbing another mob, splitting it in half and taking a look at what's going on inside. Now I've been doing a bunch of this recently. First off we started with a creeper, then we had the enderman, then I split myself in half, and then finally we had the villager, and all of these were really interesting videos, and I just want to say a massive thank you to the positive response to all of these because it really has made me feel brilliant. But today we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting mob indeed. There are a bunch of redstone contraptions on the inside of this thing. There are flying mechanisms, shooting mechanisms, and all that good stuff. I think it should be fairly interesting, so let's crack on. This disclaimer is going to apply to a very small percentage of my viewers, but these videos tend to get quite a few views and a few people tend to slightly misunderstand them. So this video right here isn't actually what happens inside a ghast. The inside of a ghast probably looks a little bit more like this, which it is interesting. It's incredibly interesting stuff, but it doesn't make a particularly brilliant redstone video, does it? Now this video is actually what happens inside my imagination when I think of what happens inside a ghast if that ghast were to be made out of redstone contraptions. I think that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's crack on with the video. So as always with these sorts of videos, we're going to be starting things off with the head, which I will admit was an absolutely terrible joke by me. Just let me know down in the comment section how unfunny I am, but we are actually going to be starting things off with a really interesting circuit up at the top here, which is this thing right here. Now I'm sure you're all wondering, how on earth do these ghasts fire out their fire charges? And I'm going to try my best to explain all of it to you, but I will warn you, it can get a little bit complicated. So first off, we have got this sort of trapdoor mechanism right here, which has a 2x2 flush piston door, which will retract, then open up, which will reveal the inside of the mouth. Then inside the mouth we've got some dispensers with TNT on the inside, obviously on a real scale model of the ghast. That will shoot out fire charges, but this is considerably bigger. And then behind those we have got some slime blocks. Now I'm going to try my best to activate this manually and hopefully you'll be able to see everything that goes on. So here goes, we hit the button, as you can see the mouth opens, the TNT gets fired out and it travels off to the location. But also some extra bits and pieces are happening over here which actually give the ghast fuel for all of its weaponry. So as you can see, when we actually shoot out a fire charge from the ghast mouth, obviously it has used up all of those resources. So what it has to do is it has to get to all of the resources. So inside these dispensers right here, we have got one creeper, we have got a blaze, and we have also got a coal dispenser, and all of those items will make their way into these hoppers over here. But of course, when you spawn a creeper and when you spawn a blaze, they actually have to be killed off so that you can get their items. So if you just fire this thing again, you will see that they actually spawn on the falling edge, and they'll be crushed by all of these blocks right here. They will then gradually die, and as I say, their items will be picked up by the hoppers and dropped off over here. Now, if you're wondering how those items get crafted into the fire charges, I don't have an explanation for that. I mean, that is far too complex for someone like me. I don't understand how it's done using redstone. I'm guessing it's just some internal mob stuff that we can't really recreate with redstone. So anyway, moving on from that, we have got the eye circuit. Now, it goes without saying that the ghasts have incredibly good eyes. I mean, we've all seen it, you're in the nether, and then suddenly a ghast is like 3 miles away, but it seems to be shooting you absolutely fine, and that is because of these things right here. Now, these are the actual lenses of the eyes, and they are controlled by these pistons, so you can actually change the direction of where the ghast is looking. So currently the ghast is looking off to the right, so if we hit this button over here, you will see that it gradually moves over to the left. So now it is looking straight on, and if we hit this button once again, it is looking fully over to the left. But then when we hit this button, it will go back to straight. When we hit this button again, it will go back to the right. And as you can see, we can sort of look around using these red pupils right here. Now this is how the ghast focuses in on its targets, and it's how it decides where it's going to be shooting its fire charges. Really very dangerous stuff. Now, as I'm sure you noticed in the previous clip, there is a certain noise going on up here, and that is because this ghast has got millions of cats in his head. I mean, there are a large number of cats up in the top section right here, and they're all meowing away, making a ton of noise. So if you're wondering how the ghast makes all of its noise, essentially it's these guys right here. They're just making a racket, and then occasionally when the mouth opens, that noise escapes, and you can actually hear it inside the nether. So if you're wondering what the ghast noise is, or it's just a bunch of cats. Finally, I can actually do this. I've been waiting to do that throughout this entire recording. But anyway, moving on from the cats and all the crazy noises and things, we have got 2 circuits that are very similar up at the top here. Now, as you guys can see, the ghast is sort of balloon shaped. I would describe it as a balloon, and it actually is. The way that these things keep inflated is using these dispensers right here. If these weren't there, then the ghast would actually shrivel up and fall out of the sky. So you just flick the lever right here, and as you can see, air is being dispensed out into the ghast, and the same thing happens on this side as well. And these are what keep the ghast inflated so that it stays afloat. Now moving on to arguably one of the most complex circuits of the entire ghast system. This entire area in the bottom right hand corner of the ghast is what controls the flight. Now this is a very complicated thing in Minecraft. Obviously we don't really have particularly very many flying machines. Obviously you have the slime block flying machines, but that's not like physical flight like the ghasts do. And we have the elytra, but that's not really controlled by redstone. This is actual flight. and this is the way that it's all controlled. Now what we have to do right here is flick this lever, and as you can see, a bunch of doors open out the back of the Ghast, and then we have these things. Now I'm going to call these Wafters. I don't really know what they're called, okay? I don't know the technical name for them, but I'm going to call them Wafters, and they essentially waft air out the back of the Ghast so that it propels itself along. They're essentially like propulsion devices, a bit like internal propellers, and they fan air out the back of the Ghast so it travels in a forward direction. Of course, we control that using this lever right here. When we flick this lever again, you can see that the whole thing turns off and all of the doors get closed up to keep all of the air inside the Ghast, because as I mentioned earlier on, if that doesn't happen, then this thing will shrivel up and fall out of the sky. Sadly, that is pretty much it for redstone contraptions. Of course, we have got the tentacles down underneath, and I would love to say that these things are filled with redstone, they have crazy superpowers, or perhaps they're hyper poisonous. But no, unfortunately that isn't the case. There doesn't seem to be anything going on in here. They seem to be completely empty. I don't actually fully understand why they're there. Perhaps they could be there just evolutionary and then the Ghast has stopped using them, or they could be there for decoration, perhaps showing off to potential mates, or they could be there for steering, because of course our propulsion system is great for going forwards, but right now I can't think of any way that this guy actually turns. So let me know down in the comment section what you think the tentacles of the Ghast are there for. But unfortunately, ladies and gents, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button. If you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.